Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thanks for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome back if you've been practicing with me. Welcome to anyone new finding the videos for the first time. If it is your first time, it's a nice, easy, stretchy one today. After the long weekend, maybe you had to drive, I don't know where you're living, but maybe you're driving to your cottage or your holiday house and you spent a lot of time sitting. So we're just gonna stretch out the hips and the hamstrings and just do a bit of stretching in general today. So I'm mostly gonna be on my mat. As you can see, I don't have my chair with me today. You can do these stretches in the chair as well, but I'm just going to be staying on my mat today. We're not going to be moving too much, so it should be a nice easy one. If you make your way down to the mat, we won't be leaving it. So with that said, I'm going to start meeting you on the mat and we'll get into the flow. Okay, so make your way down to your chair or your mat, wherever you're going to be practicing today. And just find a nice comfortable seated position. Even though we're going to be doing a nice easy sort of stretchy flow today, you still want to spend a few minutes at the beginning of the practice just really landing here in this moment, in this time. So we want to just do a little bit of breathing and maybe even setting an intention for our practice. So an easy comfortable seat could be seated like cross-legged. Maybe you like to sit up on your shins or maybe on a block, and maybe you're in your chair. Hands can rest on our laps or our thighs, and palms can be turned down, or they can be turned up depending on what type of energy you're hoping to bring to the practice. Turning the hands down might help bring the energy down as well. It might make you feel a bit more grounded by actually turning the palms down and connecting to your lap or your thighs. Turning the palms up is a bit more of an invitation to energy to find you and bring a bit more energy to the practice. So it's whatever you need. So settling in here, finding those sit bones, maybe rocking back and forth. Maybe just roll the shoulders a couple of times here as well. We'll roll them in one direction and the other. Good. Okay, let's just do a little bit of neck stretching to begin with as well, so we can tilt our left ear to our left shoulder. Come up through center, right ear to right shoulder. Come up through center. We'll just turn, look over the shoulders as well. Back through center. Good. Let's shake it all out. And then we'll turn our attention inward and start to focus on our breath work a little bit. So without changing the natural flow of the breath, I know that's really difficult the minute we start thinking about it, but just start to notice where your breath is flowing. So is it flowing nice and deep in the belly? Is it a little higher up in the chest? There's no right or wrong. We're just trying to tune into that breath and notice. Maybe noticing how deep or shallow the breath is flowing naturally. How fast or slow. And again, there's no right or wrong, and we want to just try to keep with that sort of natural flow, as natural as possible. As soon as we start to think about it, it changes. I know. And then maybe even noticing the temperature of the breath, noticing the physical sensation. Maybe the breath, you can feel it flowing in and out of your nose a little bit. And then let's turn our attention to the physical body, noticing where we're connected to the mat. Notice our hands connected to our laps. Notice other places that we might be connected. If you're sitting in a chair, you might feel the back of the chair supporting you or the arms of the chair. And as we scan our bodies here, let's try to deepen the breath a little bit, slow it down. So we'll inhale for a count of 3 or 4 or 5. Filling up our belly, ribs, and chest in all directions. Imagine sort of inflating like a balloon. And then exhale for that same count, whether it was 3 or 4 or 5 counts on the inhale. And find that equal ratio breath. Inhale. And exhale. Continuing to inhale and exhale trying to make it a nice even flow, no stopping or starting, or no sense of stopping and starting. And then as we continue to find this equal ratio breath, if it's in your practice, you could set an intention for the practice, and that's just like a little motto or a mantra that you can repeat to yourself. It's another tool to use, just like nice deep inhales and exhales, to come back and be more present in your practice. If you find you start to think about all of the, ooh, I wish I had, and the I need to do's, you can come back to that mantra. So maybe today's mantra can be as simple as I am present, or I am grounded, I am here. Whatever your mantra or motto is, just repeat it to yourself a few times here as we continue to inhale for 3 or 4 or 5 and exhale for the same count. One more big breath, and if the eyes are closed, we'll start to blink the eyes open. And then let's bring a bit of movement to the breath. Let's leave our hands on our lap, and we'll just start to circle through the hips. Oh, right away, noticing the weight shift from side to side, noticing if there's any tightness in the hips as we rotate in one direction. We're inhaling as we reach our heart space forward, exhaling as we reach back. It's okay for the hips to lift. We're just sort of getting into as deep as circles as you'd like right now. So leaning more forward, more sideways, more backwards to increase the depth, or just keeping the circles nice and small. Let's do one more here. And then we'll come up to a nice tall spine again. Let's take a big inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale the hands down through heart center, all the way back to the legs and the thighs. If you would like to change the cross of the legs, by all means, go ahead. You don't need to. And then we'll just start to find those hip circles going in the other direction. So now we'll notice the weight shifting from side to side, and just take note if there's anything different moving in this direction. And again, the circles can be as big or as small as you like as we just start to wake up the hips a little bit here. Good, let's do another one here. Inhale, exhale, and as we come to our next inhale, we'll just sit up nice and tall. Let's take another inhale here, reach the arms up. Exhale the hands through heart center. Good. Let's take another inhale as we reach the arms up, and we're going to exhale that left hand down as the right hand comes over and we find a side stretch. So now we want to keep the hips grounded. So unlike when we were doing our hip circles, the hips could come up. Let's keep the hips grounded, keep the sit bones grounded, create the stretch and opening down the side body here. Good, and we'll inhale through center and exhale over to the other side. Keep that left hip grounded this time. Keep spinning the heart space towards the front so that we're reaching up and over and creating that length down the left side. Good, let's inhale, reach the hands up. Clasp the fingers, and then we're going to flip the palms up towards the sky here. We'll just find a bit of length as we reach and find length down the side body here. You can bend over to one side for a minute and then the other. And then let's inhale through center again. And as we exhale, let's turn the palms towards the face and round through the spine. So it's a bit of a seated cat-cow with some help to increase the depth of the breath with the hands reaching up. Flip the palms up towards the sky. Inhale, find a bit of a cow back here. And then exhale, round through the spine. Pull the palms away from the face as we splay the shoulder blades here. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, round down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, round. Let's go 2 more times here. One more big inhale. Let's exhale, release the hands. We're gonna bring them behind our back and we'll clasp the hands again. I'm just gonna turn around here a little bit. Let's clasp the hands behind. See if we can bring the palms together and reach the knuckles down towards the ground. If that's too much, option to just hold on to an imaginary ball, or maybe you can even reach for opposite elbows here. That might be a nice opening option. So, finding that clasp behind the back, reaching towards the earth with either elbows or knuckles, and opening up through the front here. So reaching the heart space forward, reaching the ears away from the shoulders, knuckles reaching down towards the ground. We're opening through front side body. If you're in the chair or if you're seated on the ground, maybe you want to fold forward. The arms will lift off the low back and reach back or up towards the ceiling, depending on how far forward you want to fold. It's a little more difficult seated on the ground to do that, but you may, if you are in the chair, find that you want to increase the stretch a little bit here. Let's stay for another 2 rounds of breath, inhaling to open up through the front side body. Feeling that stretch down the shoulders, front of the shoulders. And when we're ready, we'll release from our clasp. We'll bring our hands up as we inhale and exhale the hands through heart center and back down to our lap. Good. Let's continue with stretching out those shoulders a little bit. That was feeling good. Let's inhale, we'll reach our arms forward, and we're just going to guide one arm across the body here. So I'm guiding my right arm across the body. I'm staying grounded in the sit bones, so my torso is facing forward. I'm not rotating through the torso here. So we're just guiding the arm across the body here, helping to stretch out the back of the shoulders and this upper arm area, the tricep. So option to just stay here with this nice shoulder stretch, or if you're feeling ready, you could come into some eagle arms here, finding palm to palm and lifting the elbows up away from the body. I'm not ready for that, not this early in the practice, but if you are, by all means, go ahead and find that. Let's stay for a couple rounds of breath here. And then we're going to take the same arm that's across the body and just guide it up overhead. And this left hand that was guiding the arm before is now going to just guide the elbow up towards the ceiling. You can reach this hand back down, find the back of the neck or the middle of the upper back, and we'll just guide the elbow to point it straight up towards the ceiling so we can find a nice stretch down the tricep and sort of underarm area. Nice stretch through here. Stay for a couple of breaths. If it's in your practice and you can reach the opposite hand behind and clasp the fingers, go ahead and do that. I can't do that at the best of times, especially not at the beginning of a class. So I'm going to stay here for another breath. And on the next inhale, we'll release the hands down. Good. Maybe roll the shoulders. Notice if there's any difference from right and left side here. And then we'll go to the other side. So we'll inhale our hands up shoulder height. Let's guide the opposite arm across the body. So we're finding that back of shoulder stretch. And of course, maybe if it's in your practice, you want to find those eagle arms. If it's too soon for that, by all means, stick with this nice, easy cross body stretch here. We'll take a few breaths here. We're still sitting up nice and tall. Good. We'll release here as we guide the arm that was across our body up and overhead as that hand finds the back of our neck or middle back. And our guiding hand here will guide the elbow up towards the ceiling, finding a nice tricep and underarm stretch here. Again, if it's in your practice and you can bring your hands behind, clasp fingers, go for that. I definitely am not ready for that. Something I could be working on, I suppose, but not today. We'll release as we inhale and exhale the hands back down. Good. Okay, we've done a bit of sort of shoulder and upper body stretching. Let's come out of our cross leg here. We'll flip onto all fours. We'll do a few rounds of cat-cow. So let's find our nice strong tabletop. Pull the belly in as always. Step Step the knees under the hips and wrists under the shoulders. Drop that belly down, tilt the tailbone up. Inhale here, look up. So we're feeling a nice big opening through front side body. And then exhale, round the spine. Push the mat away, splay the shoulder blades. You can move in any way that feels good. Inhaling to open up through the front side body, maybe even wiggling the hips a little bit, or turning side to stretch through side body. And as we exhale, same thing, round the spine, exhale here. And if any little movements feel good, go ahead and find those. Just moving with your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Lingering in any shape that you're looking for a little more stretch and attention. Moving with your breath. Couple more rounds here. Let's find a neutral spine on the next inhale. And we're going to just maybe separate the knees a little bit more, bring the toes together, and then we'll place our right hand just underneath our face, and we're going to find a bit of a side opening here. So we're going to twist through the torso, reach the left arm up, inhale here, and we're going to flow and thread the needle. So as we exhale, we're going to bring left arm underneath the right, reach it towards the back of the room, and then come on up on an inhale. Exhale, thread that needle again. We're not staying, not yet. We're taking another inhale here. Thread the needle. And this time we'll take a big inhale, and as we thread the needle, we'll bring our ear down or forehead down and stay here for a few rounds of breath. Twisting through the torso, supporting ourselves with our right hand here on the mat, and feeling a stretch down the back of the left shoulder. One more breath here. And then we'll press into our right hand, open up to inhale, and exhale, lower down. Make any adjustments and we'll go to the other side. So we'll press into that left hand. It's coming underneath the face here, just for creating this nice balanced tripod here. So just find the place where your knees and hands are making a bit of a triangle for stability. Press into that hand as we open up. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Lower down, thread that needle, but we're not going to stay here. We're just creating a bit of heat here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We have one more big inhale. And here now we'll thread that needle. We'll lower the ear or forehead down to the mat. Support ourselves with our left hand here. Stay for a couple rounds of breath. One more round, and then on the next inhale, we're going to press into that left hand. Come on all the way up. Open up, big inhale. Bring the hand back down. Press the hips back. Find a child's pose. So we can create a bit of space by widening the knees, walking the arms forward and lowering down. Keep thinking about sending the hips back over the heels. You can press the mat away to help find that connection of heel to glutes. Staying for another round of breath here. And then we'll lift our forehead. We're going to pull ourselves back into a tabletop. We'll bring the knees back underneath the hips, wrists back underneath the shoulders. And from here, we're just going to step our left leg forward. So we want to step that left leg forward, and you'll be coming into a bit of a lunge. So you'll be on the back knee here if you want to double up your mat or fold up a towel or put something underneath the knee for protection. You can do that. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to fold my mat over a bit, and now my knee has double padding. My hair is not clipped back, it's in my eyes today. All right, let's settle into a bit of a lunge here. So hands can stay grounded on the floor. They could come up onto the knee, or we could inhale and reach the arms up as we sink the hips lower. So you notice I'm not leaning forward, I'm staying upright and I'm sinking deeper into the hips. So creating stretch down the right hip flexor, bit of work in the left leg to support. So arms can be anywhere they want. Like I said, you can be down on the ground, on your knee for support, arms in cactus, arms reaching up, whatever feels best. I'm going to stay in a cactus here. It helps me keep the front side body open, and that's what I want, a nice big opening so we can take a breath here. And as we inhale, we'll just press into that front leg, come up a little bit, and then exhale, sink a little deeper. Inhale, exhale. Inhale one more time. Exhale, stay here for a breath. If the hands are down on the ground or reaching all the way up, let's bring them down. We're going to let the left hand, so we've got our left leg in front, let that left hand reach down for the mat as the right arm reaches up and over. Big deep side bend. It'll increase the stretch down the hip flexors, keep the heart spinning towards the front. If you can't reach the ground, option here is to have a block to help bring the ground up to you. It's a lovely option because really the concentration should be in sinking the hips, stretching the side body. Stay for another breath. Let's come on up. This time we're going to take the right hand down. I'll just unfold my mat here so we can see it. Right hand plants down beside the left foot and the left arm reaches up, so we're in a low lunge. If it's hurting your knee, option is to lift the knee off the mat. Lots of options there. Keep spinning the heart towards the front. One more inhale here. Exhale, let's bring the left hand down, bring it to the inside of the left foot. Lower the knee or keep it lifted. We're in a bit of a lizard pose, but we're just going to press the hips back here and come into a hamstring stretch. So again, if you need to place something under that right knee, as we are still on that right knee, go ahead and do that. Stay here for a few breaths. Think about bringing the toes up to your face, even that baby toe. Think about keeping the hips square, making all these little adjustments here, and just notice how it changes the stretch down the back of the leg. Stay for another breath. I'm just moving my hips around a little bit, seeing if I can deepen the stretch in different areas. I'm working on flexing my baby toe up towards my face. Strangely, that seems a little difficult for me. All right, let's just start to walk the hands forward. Come back into that bent front knee, and then we'll step it back into our tabletop. You have the option of flowing through a couple rounds of cat-cow here, or sitting back in a child's pose. So whatever feels best, choosing your option, finding a little bit of rest. Before we go to the other side. When you're ready, if you're in a child's pose, making your way up to tabletop and then pulling that right foot through and finding our lunge here. Now, I'm going to move the block over to the other side because I know that side stretch is coming up. So again, as we find our way into our lunge, hands can be down on the mat like this. We're thinking about not leaning forward, but sinking the hips deeper. Hands might come up to the knee. Same thing, we're not thinking about leaning forward, we're thinking about sinking the hips deeper. Or the hands can come up, or in cactus, and we're not leaning forward, we're thinking about sinking the hips deeper. So settle into your chosen lunge here, and then we'll move with breath. We'll inhale to come up a little bit, exhale, sink deeper. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. On the next inhale, we'll reach our arms up. This time, let the right arm come down to find the side, the side with the bent leg, and find either the block or the floor as the left arm comes up and over. So you can see and maybe feel, keeping the hips square, how this reach increases the stretch in the hip flexor. Keep spinning the heart space open, keep sinking the hips. Oh, those hip flexors get so tight. Like I said, maybe you had a long drive after the long weekend. All right, let's inhale back up through center. This time the left hand comes down, right arm reaches up. We're in a twist. Remember, the option here is to lift the knee or keep it lowered, your choice. Keep twisting towards the bent leg, pressing the mat away, reaching up. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down. We'll bring that right hand to the inside of the right foot and push the hips back to find our hamstring stretch. So again, playing with squaring off the hips, playing with flexing the toes back towards the face, including the baby toe side, and just seeing how that changes the stretch down the back of the right leg. Keep reaching the heart forward, sending that right hip back. Stay for another breath. And then we'll start to walk ourselves forward so that we can press the right leg back again. And once again, either finding cat-cow or sitting back in a child's pose. If you're in cat-cow, take a few more breaths, and then we're all going to meet in a child's pose here. And once we've settled in here, let's find a side stretch lying down in our child's pose. We're just going to lift our forehead and walk our hands over to the left, and we're going to see if we can put that right hand on top of the left as we sink the right hip down and lower forehead. Big side stretch again. And lift the forehead, walk through center, and then all the way over to the other side. Try and get that left hand on top of the right, sink the left hip down, lower down. All right, let's lift the forehead, come back through center. And from here, we're going to go into our pigeon pose. Now, so there's lots of options for pigeon, of course. If you are ready to roll down onto your back and find a figure four, by all means, go ahead and do that. You could be coming into a pigeon from your all fours and stepping one foot through, sinking the hips towards the floor, staying upright or melting down over the front leg. Lots of options. And a little bit of a gentler option might be just a bit of a modified pigeon. I think they call it deer pose, where we're creating two 90-degree angles with our legs, and we're going to turn to face the front leg, and we'll melt down over the hips this way. So I'm choosing this option today. It's still a great stretch for that outer right hip or whatever leg is in front. It's a really nice gentle option. And you can stay upright, melt down, or you can even have a block if the ground feels a little too far away, bring it up to you. So go ahead and find your pigeon. We're going to stay for a few breaths. We want to see if we can soften into that outer hip on the right side or whatever foot's in front. See if we can even soften through the face a little bit. So if you're clenching your jaw, let it go. Soften through the shoulders. Just try to melt into this posture. Keep breathing deep, maybe even feeling the belly pressing into the thigh. And then when we're ready, we're gonna press the forehead up if it was down. And come on out of our pigeon on this side. Now, depending on what type of pigeon you're in, maybe making your way to seated in all fours. And we're gonna come into our butterfly just before we go to the other side. So both feet come together. If you're on your back already, maybe coming into a happy baby, just kind of open up through the inner thighs here. Take a big inhale, reach for ankles, soles of feet, or big toes, and draw the heart space over top of the toes. So think about a long spine reaching forward, maybe even guiding elbows to help press the knees open. Maybe staying with a long back if that feels good, or maybe melting down. Wherever we are, we want to make sure we're taking deep breaths. Two more rounds. And then we'll get ready to start to hinge all the way back up. We're going to go to the other side. Now you can continue facing the same way, just bring left leg forward into pigeon. If you're coming into your deer pose like me and you're seated here in your butterfly, we can just sort of just flip the right leg into a 90 degree, and this one's already almost ready for us. We'll find our block if we need it. We're going to turn towards this front leg here and take a big inhale and start to work our way down as deep as we like, maybe staying up, maybe coming down to the mat, maybe resting forehead on a block. So finding your pigeon on the other side, so left leg forward. Finding a few rounds of breath. Noticing if this side feels different, noticing where we're holding tension and trying to soften one more time. And when we're ready, we'll start to make our way back up out of our pigeon pose. We'll come around to the front again, and instead of coming into our butterfly, let's just bring the legs straight out in front. So sort of scooch back so you're seated up nice and tall on the sit bones. And you might want to roll the mat up or sit on a block to help get your spine nice and straight. Take a big inhale here. And as we exhale, to begin with, we're going to keep a nice long back. So think about sort of reaching the heart space towards the toes. As we hinge forward, the hands will fall where they fall. And we're playing again with flexing the toes back towards the face here. And just for another breath or so, we'll keep a nice long spine, and you can stay here if you choose, or go ahead and melt down. It's your choice here, whatever feels best. And then we'll start to make our way out of this stretch coming up. Let's just give the legs a little shake, a little massage. And then we're scooched to the edge of our mats here so we can make room to roll down to our backs any way that feels safe and comfortable to get down there. Once you're down, give yourself a little hug, draw the knees in towards the chest. You can rock side to side here. Maybe you want to bring hands to knees and draw circles in opposite directions or same direction, whatever feels best. Making sure to go in the other direction as well. And then let's draw the knees in. We're going to do a nice, easy spinal twist. Let the knees fall over to one side as we splay the shoulder blades open onto the mat and turn our gaze away from the knees. Opposite hand here can help guide the knees if they feel like they're kind of not staying put. This might be a little bit of extra weight just to help the twist stay intact. And breathe into the side body. And bring the gaze back through center. With a bit of core strength and a little bit of help, we'll bring the knees back through center here. And then we'll let them fall to the other side. Just need to make a bit of room. And if my shoulders start to come off, I'm just going to peel the shoulders back onto the mat. Opposite arm helping keep the twist intact and breathing into the side body. One more round of breath. Bring the gaze back, bring the knees back, hug the knees in one more time. You can rock side to side. And then from here, we'll do either happy baby or a bridge or any posture really that feels that your body is feeling like it needs. Maybe you feel like you need to open up the hips a little bit coming into bridge with me, or maybe you want to stretch through the hips a little bit more coming into happy baby. Anything that feels good. If you're coming into bridge, plant the feet, walk the heels in towards the glutes, bring hands down by the sides, then we'll press into hands and feet and arms and lift the hips up off the mat here. You can stay here, you can have a block underneath as a supported bridge, or maybe you want to walk the shoulders underneath the body, clasping the hands again. Wherever you choose to land, we're going to find 3 rounds of breath, whether it's happy baby or some variation of bridge, or maybe it's just legs up the wall. Keep lifting if you're in bridge. 2 more breaths. One more breath, and on the exhale, walk the hands out from underneath and roll down. Good. All right, hug the legs in one more time just to sort of counter that low back. And then we'll come into our Shavasana. Now, options for Shavasana are to have the knees bent, step the feet wide, let the knees fall in together, or maybe you want to extend the legs out along the mat. Hands can come down by your sides, and you can stay in a traditional resting pose. I'm just going to make my way up to seated. You find the position that feels best for you to close your practice, and we'll find a few moments of quiet and stillness here where we can start to scan our bodies from head to toe. Don't forget about down the arms and fingers and the front side body and the back side body. Noticing if there are any areas that are still feeling a little stuck, and maybe just breathing a little loving kindness that way. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest, and know that rest is different from sleep, and that we need both every day, and we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. Now, if your body wants or needs to stay in Shavasana for any longer, by all means, press pause now or let the video play out. If you are ready to bring movement back to your body and wake yourself up, you can start to wiggle through fingers and toes, maybe circle wrists and ankles. And maybe you want to curl into a little ball or stretch long along your mat one last time, just before rolling over to one side. And if you're not already there, finding your way to a comfortable seated position. And from here, we can all take a big breath together. We'll inhale, sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, draw the hands through heart center. They can rest in a prayer or over the heart or back down onto the lap or thighs, wherever you feel most comfortable. And I want to thank you so much for allowing me to guide you today through this lovely stretchy flow, and for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces. It's truly an honor, and I can't wait to do it again here next week. Until then, take care. Oh, thank you, everyone. I hope that a stretchy flow was exactly what you were looking for. I mean, when is it not, right? Have a great week. See you again soon.